And welcome back, folks. This is another edition of Nibbonometry. Today we're going to be discussing the Payday event that has recently popped up and caught a lot of people off guard. I myself was not expecting it. I was able to complete a couple tiers, but even with the bonus shards that you were receiving, I didn't quite get up to the 3-star Mercs. But in this guide, I'm going to be talking about farming Mercs, blasters, and cross farm, because some of these heroes apply to different categories, especially like cosmic missions, some of them in mystic, villains. I don't know what your current rosters are like. A lot of people are still trying to build up their rosters. So I'm here to kind of give you a helpful guide on which heroes to farm for which specific campaigns and events that will help you in the long run. And let's not forget about blasters, because if you're like me and everybody else, it's the dreaded game of collecting catalysts. So we're going to be touching up on which heroes work best synergetically between all of them. You got the mercenaries, Bullseye, Korath. Mercenary Lieutenant is good. Obviously, the Deadpool event is happening right now. Merc Sniper is pretty good. Merc Soldier, not so much. And Mercenary Riot Guard can be pretty decent. And then you got Blasters with some of the same. Obviously, Bullseye, Korath. Punisher is a pretty decent one. Merc Sniper. Mercenary Soldier, once again, not so much. Some people like Hand Archer, especially if they're building a hand team. I actually plan to build a hand team later in the future. Cable, once his event opens. If you have access to Thor, Iron Man, or Rocket, they're all pretty amazing. Cable, especially with Deadpool, he makes Deadpool a hell of a lot more deadly than he currently is as his current state. And you've got Cosmic, and some of the heroes that you can use at crossover is Korath, Thor, Kree Cyborg, Rocket, once again, Cable. So you're starting to see some similarities, some crossover between these particular groups, and that is important, I think, when farming specific heroes, that you can use them in all these events to your best advantage to get the most out of whatever currency that you're going to be getting. And then last but not least, we have Mystic, who only really has Thor as a crossover, but there's definitely some heroes in there that work well in other scenarios, like the Hand, if you want the Hand Sentry, Hand Assassin. I highly recommend Black Panther. Doctor Strange is up there. Nobu, if you get a chance to farm him. These guys aren't really, as much as cross farming, but they're really good for respective teams if you want to go for Blitz. So what I've done is I've basically created a chart. And if you look at this here, you can start to see the similarities between all of these groups. So you've got blasters, which you definitely need for the blaster challenge. If you haven't started at least farming them a little bit, I would definitely recommend that now. Winter Soldier you can find in Cosmic 1-9. He's a little bit harder to farm, but not all that much. Merc Sniper hits incredibly hard. Bullseye is readily available all over the time, or all over the place. Korath is much better, especially since they fixed him and cleaned him up a little bit. Cable's coming up in the event, I think is tomorrow. You've got Kree Cyborg, who is, pretty easy to farm as well. And Rocket, who everybody wants to get in the game. I want Rocket personally. And you've got Mercs, once again. Korath, Bullseye. So you can use the blasters for the next Merc event. And I'm guessing the Merc event is probably going to be something, if you've played Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, they had the heist event, which happens like every 2 weeks or so, give or take a few days. I'm thinking the similarity is going to be there, where it's going to be an event that we're going to see probably maybe twice a month. If we're lucky, that'd be pretty great. And then once again, you've got Merc Sniper down there with the Mercs. So you can be farming these blasters, then you can use them for the Merc event. And then once you get to Cosmic, once again, Merc Sniper, Korath, Cable, if you have, the ability to get him. I don't know if they're going to make him unlockable, in the top 10%, if you'll get shards to unlock him, or if it's going to be another top 500 event. We won't know until tomorrow. Rocket, once again, super hard to get. I wish they would do his event. I would really like to have him because he hits incredibly hard. And then for the villain campaign, I don't know how far people are progressing in the villain campaign. I've kind of personally neglected it just because my lineup doesn't particularly suit to villains. I use more of like an Avenger Shield lineup. So, but you've got Winter Soldier, who is extremely good and one of the hardest hitting, if not the hardest hitting, single target heroes in the game. Kree Cyborg, once again, Merc Sniper, and surprise, surprise, Korath. So, like, if you're not farming Korath, you should be. I got lucky. I got him in a couple Mega Orbs 2 weeks in a row. So I was like, well, I'm just going to roll with it then. Turns out he works pretty well in everything. And he is surprisingly better than I thought. The heal block and the ability block comes in handy. He generates an assist, and he constantly has speed up. So I just unlocked Winter Soldier. I can't wait to tinker with him. I'm going to add him to my Blaster squad. I'm halfway to getting Thor because I want Thor for the Cosmic and the Mystic events. I don't know why Thor's not on that chart, but he should be. But I'm not going to use raid tokens to unlock him. Now, my point of all of this is seeing the similarities on the chart right there. It'll help you farming. And that's the most important thing. People ask me all the time, who should I go after? What should I do? How should I do blitz? Which heroes are important? Which minions are good? This chart tells you. These are the minions that you should be farming. If you have any question, unless you're trying to build like a hand team, I guarantee most people aren't trying to build a Kree or an AIM team. Kree because they're hard to farm, AIM because they're pretty much useless. And I just get those questions a lot. From the community and from my alliance members, and I felt like putting it into like a little handy dandy guide like this will make it more accessible and more efficient. I know I use these kind of guides for myself when I'm farming, figuring out who I want to go after, who's worth investing into. I've tinkered around a lot with a bunch of different heroes and blitz lineups to not only increase my blitz scores, but to kind of figure out the who's who of all the minions and the heroes and what kind of teams go together synergetically. So use this guide, and I hope that it helps you in the future farming. Definitely go after blasters, guys. That catalyst challenge is no joke. Advanced catalysts are extremely hard to come by later in the game, and you can get up to like 32 or something a month, or a week rather, with the blasters. So get that taken care of. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe and like, and stay tuned for future content. This is Mr. Nib signing off. Take care, folks.